All right, folks. So I wanted to briefly go over this podcasting assignment. Specifically, I want to show you how to use Audacity. And as I said before, if you're on a Macintosh, you might want to use GarageBand instead, simply because there's a lot of tools built into it for podcasting, a lot of samples and musical themes and jingles and all sorts of fun stuff built into it. And it comes free with your Mac. But I'm going to show Audacity instead because this one's also free. And it's available for Mac or PC, so it's kind of a little more universal. And it's an easy program to use, but it can be a little tricky at first. There's a lot of features here, a lot of options, effects. It's kind of overwhelming maybe at first, but just keep in mind for our purposes, I'm not really expecting anything like professional quality podcasting or anything for you all. I just basically want you to have some fun with this, be creative with it, try to get a feel for what it's like to make a podcast and see some of the potential here. But there's so much more you can learn. And I've posted some links to some much better videos than this if you really want to delve into these programs. But anyway, for our purposes, we can start here simply by making sure we have our microphone selected. And by the way, if you really want to get serious about podcasting, I would recommend something like what I'm using here. This is a Yeti blue microphone. It's pretty much one of the industry standards for podcasting. They're about $100 to $150. Sometimes you can get them as low as $50. But you get a much better quality sound out of this. And what I also like about this one is it can do a two-way. You can set it so that somebody across from you will also be picked up on the mic. So that's kind of nice if you're interviewing people. But, again, for our purposes, any old mic will do. Just make sure you select it here. Make sure you have your microphone selected. And the same thing with the speakers. Sometimes you might not be able to hear it or whatever. So just make sure you're looking at the right speakers there, or your right device. All right, so to start off with, I'll just record a little audio. Hello, hello, hello. So I think this is recording my web mic. So this is what you're looking for. You see some nice big waveforms here. If the whole thing looks like this, really little fuzzy line, that means you're not loud enough. So you need to adjust your microphone or just talk louder. Likewise, if it's way up at the top and way at the bottom, or it looks sort of like it's cut off or sort of square looking, that means you're getting distortion. So you need to turn it down. But anyway, this looks pretty good. I could play this here. Hello, hello, hello. Always makes you a little self-conscious at first, but you get used to that. Okay, so a couple of basic editing tricks with this. Let's just say that I wanted to cut out this beginning part. Maybe I was just fooling around or saying test or whatever. So the way you do that is just to go to Edit and Cut. So let's just cut that out. So boom, that's gone. Another thing that might happen, let's say you recorded for 10 minutes and everything's fine, but maybe here somewhere you messed up. So instead of recording that whole 10 minutes thing over again, you don't need to do that. We can just either cut out that part, or you can do a split. So why don't we do the split instead? So let's go to Edit, and then let's see, Clip Boundaries, Split, and then we can delete the little part we don't like. What's nice about this, though, is you could move it over and then re-record the segment and then bring it back in using this little button here called Time Shift Tool. So this lets you could split it up, move it around. Maybe you want to move it like that, so that comes second. However you want to do it, that's just kind of basic editing stuff there, right? Just remember when you're done, you probably want to click back on this selection tool again so that you can select things instead of moving them around. Now, a couple other things. Most people would like to put a little music at the start of their podcast. Let's go ahead and do that. So I want to go to File, Import some audio. And I got a couple of tracks. These are like public domain musical tracks for podcasters. So just whatever. Okay, I get this it brought in the whole track, right? So it says I think this is about 15 seconds long. Let me zoom out here. Let's see, where's the zoom out? There we go. So let's move our audio out a little bit. Now, if I play this, it's probably going to be super loud, right? Let's see what this sounds like. Yeah, so here I can lower the volume on that. Get it about where I'm looking. You don't want this to be red zoning here. So we could play that for a while and then bring the audio in like this. Or we can select this and go to Effect, Fade Out. And that'll give you a more gradual, let you fade it out. And then you can... Hello. So you see what I did there, right? So you can fade this out, or you can fade it in as well. So let's do the fade out and the fade in. So that's easy enough to do, and of course you can do that with your voice too. A lot of beginner podcasters, they make the mistake. They're a little self-conscious again about their voice, so they make the music way too loud, or they try to play music during their whole podcast, and you can barely hear them. All you hear is the music. So I always say, if you think the music's loud enough, go ahead and lower it some more. I mean, you really want to just barely be able to hear the music, especially if you're trying to. I would just say don't ever play music while you're actually talking, because then you're having to compete with the music. But in any case, don't have the music way louder than your voice, or your voice way louder. Try to keep the volume levels fairly consistent. Otherwise, you might really jolt somebody listening to it with headphones. So just remember, there's your volume for the whole track. And you can also get in here and fiddle with the waveforms, but it's easier just to use this. Okay, so when you're done with this, you just go to File again, and you can save the project, but this is only going to be openable. You'll only be able to open it in Audacity, or you can click here where it says Export Audio, which that's what you really want. So export it, and then click on the option here for MP3 file. And I just leave all this alone. Name your file something, and then you can just upload it into SoundCloud from there. Now, it could be, for whatever reason, you might not have MP3 files an option. So if that's the case, you could try the WAV format. That usually works. There's a WMA format. That'll probably work just fine. I think there's usually an MP4. Yeah, there's the MP4. That would work. So just see what you have available there. But the WAV format and the MP3 format are probably the best to use. All right, so I think that's about everything you need. There's your time shift tool. Remember, if you want to move stuff around, there's your edit tool. If you want to get in here and mess with effects or anything. If you want to do more, you could certainly get in here and play around with all this, echoes and amplify things. And I think there's some graphic equalizers in here. Vocal reduction. You probably don't want to mess with any of this, but it's kind of fun. The compressors are a pretty popular option if you want to, let's see, factory presets. That's only the default there. If you want to sound more like a professional DJ, they use a lot of compression, and there's usually like equalization, so you can play around with your bass boost. Oh, there's a bass, so you can up your bass a little bit. That usually makes you sound a little bit more professional. But anyway, none of that's required. The main thing I'm looking for here is just the content. And so remember, you only want about 5 to 10 minutes. Just talk about one of the writing tools on that list I provided for you. And you can either write the script out and read it, or you can make it up as you go. Either way is fine. And I'm just kind of looking forward to hearing those, and I hope you have some fun with the project. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'll try my best to help you. I also encourage you to look at those tutorial videos I posted. And of course, you can go into the help file within your audio editing program. But anyway, again, though, just let me know if you have any questions. Happy to help, and looking forward to hearing your podcast. Thank you.